I'd like to welcome up our Kid Commissioner for the day, Mackley. Mackley is our Kid Commissioner as part of our partnership with Children's Mercy, and she will be teeing up today's remarks. So Mackley, come on up.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Big 12 Media Day. I am the Big 12 Kid Commissioner Mackley Reffiness and I am 11 years old. I hope everybody here got to experience some of the fun and cool things I got to do here at Media Day, especially hanging out at the puppy station and skills challenge. Mom, I need a puppy. At this time, I would like to pass my commissioner's duties to a special someone who has some exciting things to say to you today. Ladies and gentlemen, Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark.
Hold on, come over here, Mackley. Come here. We need a photo op, you and me. Come here. Come on. Let's go. Nice little photo. Okay. I told Mackley earlier this morning she's my boss for the day. Mackley, thank you for having me today. Okay? You want to stand up here?
Okay.
Okay, stand right over here. Okay, stay right there. Okay, guys, before I get started, and you know me, I like to walk around a little bit. I got my notes here. A couple of dignitaries I'd like to recognize. First, Mayor Lucas. Okay, Mayor Lucas is in the house. Big hand. Without his support, we're not here through 31, and he's been an incredible champion of Big 12 basketball, Big 12 conference in general here in Kansas City. A couple of ADs. Kirby Holcutt from Texas Tech is here in the house. Okay? Brian Santiago from BYU. Okay? Guys, thanks for being here today. Okay, and the media. You know I always like to thank you first. Appreciate all you do, the great coverage throughout the year, keeping us elevated and amplified as a conference. So thank you for all your support. And officially, I'd like to welcome you all to the 2025 Big 12 Basketball Media Days presented by New Era. I'm thrilled to be back here in Kansas City, the home of Big 12 basketball, as we kick off the 2025-26 men's and women's basketball season. Before I talk about the Big 12's year so far and the upcoming basketball season, I want to first touch on a few national topics and industry issues. First, the SCORE Act. This is something my fellow 31 Division I commissioners and I are in support of. At its core, the SCORE Act is about protecting the future of college sports for every athlete, every school, and every fan. It creates one national NIL standard, replacing the confusing patchwork of state laws and ensuring a level playing field for all of our programs. It protects student athletes' rights to control their own name, image, and likeness with a fair and transparent system. It continues to grow the benefits provided to student athletes by expanding scholarships, medical coverage, mental health resources, and academic support. And it ensures that student athletes remain students, not employees, preserving women's and Olympic sports at institutions of all sizes. The SCORE Act serves as a great start. I'm going to say that again. The SCORE Act serves as a great start to addressing our challenges, understanding we have more work to be done. Now I'd like to briefly touch on the College Sports Commission. As I've said before, this is about progress over perfection, and we've made great progress. I meet weekly with Brian Seeley and my fellow commissioners, and while some have expressed concern about how long it's taking some NIL deals to get approved, I'll say this, that's not a glitch, that's a feature. The CSC is doing the critical work to ensure there's no pay-for-play in our industry. Deals that aren't above board are getting the scrutiny they deserve. This is a new era of enforcement. Complying with these new rules is not optional. Brian and his team are in the process of hiring a head of investigations. And once all of our schools have signed the participation agreements, I expect the CSC's enforcement efforts to be strong and robust. On the CFP front, as of now, the 12-team format remains the model. We haven't had conversations about alternative formats recently, but if and when those discussions arise, we'll do our due diligence to ensure that the Big 12 is positioned for postseason success. My fellow Power 4 commissioners and I are in close communications on this issue and many more. And I can confidently say our working relationship has never been better. It's been a great fall for the Big 12 so far. We currently have 4 teams ranked in the AP poll for football, including 2 in the top 15. As the season progresses, I fully expect we'll have multiple teams competing for a spot in this year's college football playoff. In Olympic sports, we've had tremendous success as well. 6 teams ranked in volleyball, 5 in soccer, and the #1 team in the country in both men's and women's cross country, as well as the #1 team in men's golf. Off the field, we continue to build tremendous momentum as a league. We've expanded our commercial footprint and with new and renewed partnerships, including PayPal, Allstate, New Era, and more that will soon be announced. For instance, today, I'm pleased to announce the extension of Phillips 66 as the presenting sponsor of the Big 12 men's and women's basketball tournaments right here in Kansas City. And they'll be our partner through 31. Phillips has been a part of the Big 12 family since it was even called, before it was even called the Big 12, dating back nearly 40 years to our Big 8 days. We are deeply grateful to Mark Leisher and the entire Phillips 66 team for their decades of partnership. They've been a great partner, and so thrilled to announce officially today they'll be with us till 31. Now it's time to talk about basketball. That's why we're here. Being a different league means we needed to be different when it came to this year's media days. And we are introducing some great enhancements this year. I want to thank New Era for playing a major role in this year's media days. I'd also like to thank SI Swim for providing a makeup and beauty bar for our student athletes today. I want to thank the incredible influencers that are here to amplify our message and showcase Big 12 basketball, including Lethal Shooter, Pass the Ball, and Olivia Petnicki. The Big 12 will be the most widely distributed conference in college basketball this year. I want to thank our basketball media partners that are here today: ESPN, Fox, CBS, NBC, and TNT. It's going to be a tremendous year with our media partners. In addition, I want to thank Bleacher Report and NBA and WNBA social teams for also being here. Starting with women's basketball, I'd like to welcome Coach Burke from Arizona, Coach Miller from Arizona State, Coach Kamerd from BYU, who was previously the associate head coach, and Coach Mitchell from Houston. Welcome to the Big 12. Last season, we had 5 teams ranked at season's end, marking consecutive years with 5 ranked programs for the first time since 2010. This year's preseason poll includes 4 Big 12 programs, including 3 in the top 20. We continue to prioritize Big 12 women's basketball. I couldn't be more excited about where we're going as a brand. And I want you to please take a look at a quick teaser of an upcoming documentary on Big 12 women's basketball. Please take a look. Okay, let's give it a hand. Well done. We'll see that in its full format soon. Okay, on the men's front, I look forward to an incredible season built off of the momentum from last year. Coach Jensen from Utah and Coach Hodge from West Virginia, welcome to the Big 12. It's a battle every night. When we talk about Big 12 men's basketball, we're talking about the premier conference in the country. Last year, the Big 12 won 14-7 in the NCAA tournament, the best winning percentage of any conference. Houston reached the national championship game for the first time since 1984. And we had 4 teams in the Sweet 16, the most since 2002. This year, the standard only continues to rise. The men's basketball preseason poll features a record-tying 6 Big 12 teams in the top 25, including 3 in the top 10. Night in and night out, Big 12 basketball is the most competitive in America, and there are no nights off. When we think about basketball as a whole, I'm incredibly bullish on the future of this sport. Regarding tournament expansion, I've always said I'm in favor of it only if the economics make sense. There's nothing like the NCAA tournament in all of sports, and I understand why fans may be apprehensive towards any change. That said, I think a format that improves access and economics without losing what makes the event so special is worth exploring. Beyond tournament expansion, I think college basketball will continue to grow globally. As our conference grows its brand internationally, basketball will play a crucial role. 10% of our Big 12 student athletes are international students. We've got Baylor women's basketball in France this November, in addition to our football games happening in Ireland and London next fall. In the short term, these international games create an incredible experience for our student athletes, help build our brand globally, and can be a catalyst for school enrollment and recruitment. The long-term goal is creating relevance globally so that we can ultimately monetize our international media rights. As we look ahead to the 25-26 season, both on and off the court, the Big 12 continues to thrive. Basketball is at the heart of this conference. So as we officially tip off the new season, one thing remains clear. Big 12 basketball continues to set the standard. It's not just the best conference in the country. It truly is a different league. Thank you all for being here, and I'll take some questions now. Right, Clark? Okay.
Okay, same format as always. Raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you. Please use your corresponding outlet and identify your name as well, and we'll get ahead and call on you. Got hands?
Any questions?
Start back there. Blair from KC Star.
Yeah, Blair Kirkhoff from the Kansas City Star. Brett, could you just amplify the international games for this conference, and what is the financial future of games like this?
Well, listen, I just returned from London last week. I was there for 36 hours. I had the honor to spend some time at Wembley, which is such an iconic stadium across the globe, in fact. I think, as I said in my comments, there are some short-term benefits, long-term benefits. Short-term, it's how do we provide a great cultural experience for our student athletes, because that's the business we're in. 2, I think it certainly globalizes our conference, our brand, our narrative. It could be a recruitment catalyst, you know, when you think about enrollment and student athlete recruitment in general. Long-term, I want to monetize our international TV rights. It's something currently we give away. And as we become more globally relevant over the next 6 years before we go back into the marketplace, that's a goal of mine. How do we become more globally relevant? In fact, our content right now is being distributed in Europe through the DAZN, which is a streaming platform in Europe. So many of our football games this year have been aired across the pond and in other markets across the world, and we'll see that more and more now. But I think we can win globally. In fact, I'm convinced of it. And we'll be thoughtful and strategic about it. Obviously, we played in Dublin last year. It was in August, it was a great game, a conference game. We'll be returning there next year with TCU versus North Carolina. So I think there's real momentum for us, and I'm excited about it. Any other questions today? Go ahead.
We'll get Scott Springer.
Oh, you got a mic right here.
All right, I have to sneak a football question in. At the top of the leaderboard in the Big 12 are 3 schools that entered in 2023. Is that obviously part of the reason that they were asked to join the Big 12? Are you surprised by that? Because some people thought those schools were not going to compete, and they have.
Listen, I've always said we're 16 strong. You know, we're in 10 states, we're in 4 time zones, and there is, you know, a metric, if you will, that you look at when you think about expansion. You know, what markets a school comes from, their academic progress, their cultural fit, their level of performance, the investments they're making. And we've added 8 new schools in the last 2 years. And we've had to spend a lot of time integrating them. But we made a bet on those 8 schools, that they would continue to compete at the highest levels, they'd invest the way they should, and that their transition into the Big 12 would be a good one. And you're seeing it play out now, which is great. So it's no surprise to me that some of the newer schools are competing at a high level. That was the expectation.
Go right here.
World. You mentioned
How are
tournament.
you today? You know, I always ask the members of the media how they're doing today, and I forgot to ask you how are you doing, but I did shake your hand earlier, and you said you're doing great. How are you today?
Having a good one today. It's been
Where
a
are you
good
from?
day. I am from Kansas City, and I go to school at KU.
Oh, great. Okay, I'll be on campus this weekend.
I was just wondering, you mentioned tournament expansion. Is that 68 to 76, and then are those preliminary conversations you have that you've
Well,
had? Or have you had in-depth
so listen, that's an
conversations?
NCAA decision. You know, but from a conference perspective, and I've spent a lot of time with our IDs and our coaches, we're in favor of modest expansion. Let's use 76 as a working number. Might not be the number, but we'll use it as a working number. But the right economics have to come with that, as I've discussed, and I've been, you know, I've reinforced that over the last couple of months. And I do believe that there's momentum for expansion. You're hearing it talked about a little bit more. Charlie Baker referenced it last week. Commissioner Petiti mentioned it in his address for Media Days of the Big Ten. So I think there's some momentum. We'll see where it lands. Thank you for your question.
Go back to Blair.
We're at the
Where are we at? Oh, go ahead.
the Big 12 was the first to explore private equity. The Big Ten is now talking about it. I'm just wondering where you all are on the path of consideration of private equity.
So I'm going to rinse and repeat what I've said before. That's kind of my mantra these days. It's incumbent upon all commissioners, you know, to look at different options, you know, that they can bring back to their boards. And some of those options make sense, some don't. But it's incumbent upon us to do that. And I've done that, you know, and I did it early, in fact. And, you know, we like where we are right now. That doesn't mean, you know, we're not exploring different options. But private equity for us doesn't work. We're very bullish on our future. We're not giving a stake to anyone. We want that upside. We believe that there's real upside over the course of the next 6 to 8 years, especially when we go into that media market in January of 30. So private equity doesn't work for us. Could there be other scenarios that present themselves? Maybe. But private equity doesn't work for us.
Go right here in the middle.
Cindy Brunson, representing the University of Arizona, NBC Sports and TNT Sports as well.
By the way, we love having TNT
right?
in this
Isn't that
conference.
fun?
They're doing a wonderful job in football. Our fans love it. They're obviously going to be doing basketball this year, so we're very excited.
On that point, you mentioned last year at your address that you were a pretty new women's basketball fan. Now that you've gotten the juice and you know how special the product is, what is your intention as far as expanding linear availability for women's basketball?
We're working with all of our media partners, you know, to get them to double down. This year we'll have over 20 games on linear, which is the most we've had for quite some time. So we're exciting. We're making progress. It's not perfect yet, but we're making meaningful progress. And there's other ways to amplify and elevate women's basketball. Bleacher Report's here, and they're all in. You know, you've got the WNBA social media folks here today. And, you know, we're in the storytelling business. We have our own controlled media platforms, Big 12 Studios, our partnership with Raycom, Big 12 Radio, with TuneIn. So we're doing more and more with those outlets to promote and elevate women's basketball. Obviously, we showed you a little teaser for a documentary. So we're making progress. We're not there right now, but we're making progress. And I can tell you I love women's basketball. I go to a lot of games. I love the athleticism, the grit, the competitive nature. So I plan on being in a lot of games this year too. And thank you for all your support. Okay.
Great. We've got time for two more.
Next up.
Let's go to Mitch, and then we'll finish with John. So Mitch from KSL.
Yeah,
How you
Mitch
doing,
Harper.
Mitch?
Doing good, Brett.
It's good to see you.
Good seeing you as well. Mitch Harper, KSL Sports. These are highly resourced programs in the Big 12. In the rev share era, do you see the investment in resources only leveling up, or is there a little bit of a cap for basketball teams?
Wait, say this. So what's the question? Give me the question again. I'm sorry.
Do you see the resources leveling up still?
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
investment continuing in the rev share era for these basketball programs in your league?
Yeah, listen, I see investment across the conference, which is terrific. And, I always said that, the theory behind the settlement, the $20.5 million cap, was that it should create a level playing field for our schools. And I think it's playing out this year. Just look at the top 25 in football. Schools that started there are no longer there. Schools that were on the fringe have now made their way into the top 25. I think there's parity across the landscape, and I think a lot of that is because schools across the board are investing at a high level. And our conference certainly is doing that, and we're competing at a high level. And there's a direct correlation between investment and performance, no different in any business. And we're seeing it play out week in and week out. Not to get into the preseason polls at all, but that's why I don't pay much attention to them, because with roster management and what's going on in the portal, you know what you really have. And I think, again, that's playing out as well. So I agree with you. Investment continues. And it's not just in student athletes. It's infrastructure, capital improvements on campus. You go across our campus landscape, and the investment is enormous. And much of that investment is in order for our student athletes to become the best version of themselves. Lots of investment in our student athletes. So excited about where we're going as a conference, for sure. Thank you.
Okay, John, bring us home.
Brett, John Kurtz with KC Sports Network. I know you've been a big proponent of the 5+11 playoff format. There was a report about a month ago from Ross Dellinger. Could be a format out there with 3 or 4 auto bids for each Power 4 conference. Is that something that you could get behind in supporting or change your stance?
Is your question, would I get behind a format that gave us the same amount as the ACC, the SEC, and the Big Ten?
Correct.
I'd be up for that. I'd consider that. I've always said you got to earn it on the field, right? And, nothing should be predetermined, come the beginning of the season. So if there was a conversation about a format that gave the 4 power conferences the same amount of AQs, I'm all ears. We got to be thoughtful about whatever format change. The 12-team format worked. Last year, it was dramatic. It was great football. You had the right teams in, and that's all I want. I want to give our schools a chance each and every year to compete at the highest levels in the college football playoff. And if we're on equal footing with our colleagues, I'm all in on that conversation. Thank you for your question.
Okay, thanks everyone for being here. Special shout out again to Mackley, the kid commissioner, best commissioner in college sports. Thank you again, Mackley.
Also, wait, hold on, Clark. This is Clark's last official endeavor with the Big 12. You might have read about it. There was a lot out there. There was a lot of media coverage of Clark moving over to SMU. But we wish him well. Clark, you've been terrific. You've helped to elevate and amplify our conference in ways we could never have imagined. So we're excited for you, and we know you'll do great things at SMU. So give Clark a big hand, guys, please. Thank you. Okay.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.